Hey, what's up, Luca? Again, first off, I just want to say thank you for giving me and the listeners the time and the opportunity to hear from you and learn from you. It just means a shit ton to me, my man.
Dude, thank you, and thank you for all of the support. It's an honor to be on this podcast or this interview with you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here. This is episode number 5. But so today I want people to hear your story. Not only about Pudgy Penguins, but yourself, some advice, and everything leading up to this point. So take me back to volume 1, my guy. What was it like growing up for you, and what were the things that you were into, and all that kind of who's Luca? Who's Luca Netz?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I actually like that you add some subordinate questions to that because it's definitely gives me something to think about. I mean, I grew up homeless with my mom for about 10 years, from ages 2 to 11, 9, 10 years. We were living house to house, guest bedroom to guest bedroom, basically staying at people's couches and or guest bedrooms, whoever would take us in. My mom would either take care of their children or clean the house, kind of in exchange. My brother and I used to fight a lot, so eventually we'd overstay our welcome and then we'd be on to the next. So I think over the course of 9, 10 years, we probably stayed in 18 to 25 different places. It's really hard to kind of count. I think one of these days I should probably try. At the time, it felt normal. It felt like life. And so I didn't really get it as bad as my brother. My brother's older than me. And so I kind of have a lot of empathy for him because he definitely saw a lot more of the struggle than I did. Eventually, we settled down in Los Angeles. I then spent a lot of my time skateboarding, huge skateboarder. It's all I did. It was kind of like my escape
Nice.
from life. As I got older, I started to realize how bad our situation was. My mom was having, nervous breakdowns and just freaking out. And so skateboarding was my escape. I was skating until I was about 16. And then I decided I had an epiphany one morning and I said, the epiphany was actually I stole $8 out of my mom's wallet and she cried. She was bawling in tears saying she needed the money. And then I was like, yeah, I'm old enough. I'm 16 now. There's no excuse. You can get a job in LA if you're 16. It's time I leave school and help pay the bills and make our life a little bit easier. And so I started to explore entrepreneurship. I got a job. My first job was at a tech startup called Ring Doorbell. Really thankful there. But I really took a deep dive into entrepreneurship and what makes a good entrepreneur. And I found a couple really interesting life lessons that changed my life. The first one was stop feeling sorry for yourself, as I really felt sorry for myself. The second one was stop blaming other people for how your life is. And I used to blame my mom as to why our life sucked. And the last one was I have control over my destiny, right? And I just need to get up and get to work. And so I did that, and I was fortunate enough to leave Ring when I was 18. I started my first direct-to-consumer business shortly after. At 19, I sold that business for a ton of money, and the rest is history.
Dude, insane. That's insane, man. Yeah, I had a similar backstory, kind of a similar, it was just me and my mom and my sister. And we weren't there was a lot of problems with my stepdad and stuff like that. And we had to leave. And we're same thing, man. We were bouncing house to house and going wherever we could. And the same thing, man. But the kind of the difference was for me is that, like, at the time I was very angry at the world. I was just pissed off, man, just because of the things that I've been through, the things that I saw. I just felt like it wasn't fair. And the same thing with you. One day I woke up and I kind of realized that um, nobody's going to come and, like, be a Superman and come and save us or anything like that. It had to. I had to take all the accountability for all the things that I've done. Cause like I said, man, I was an angry kid, man, because of all the things and stuff like that. And one day I was just very bad, I would say, and to my mom. And I was very lashing out. She just started crying and crying, and she just didn't understand why I was like that, because she loved me so much. And I think that was the day I changed my life too. And I just never wanted to see my mother cry and struggle so much. Yeah, so I can relate to you on that. It means a lot that you opened up to me with that. And it's just crazy, man, just to see where you come from and how like how far you come, dude. It's fucking insane. And then kinds of me leads me to, like, the next question, because I've read all about it, dude. I've read fucking amazing things, like the huge exit on Ring, insane, dude. Like, I think that's like, oh man, you just you like you play it down a little bit, but dude, that's fucking insane. And then stepping down. at CML at Gel Blasters to work on Pudgy Penguins. That was fucking insane to read too. And I'm just glad that like we're knowing a little bit about like Luca and like your background to see and to hear what like the founder what they're really like, you know what I mean, and where we're putting our bets on. And it's insane your come up story, man. But really quick before we get into like everything else, how do you explain to your friends and family what NFTs are?
Yeah, it's interesting. Some some of my friends and family get it, so that's awesome. I think in layman's terms, I just tell them it's the future, right? I try not to go into the semantics. I just say, hey, you own your property in real life, like you should own your digital assets in real life,
Yeah.
right? And so it's as simple as that. And with the simple phrase of it's the future, and get into this and explore it as you please.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think I rather lead by example and by showing them than try to go through this long dissertation as to what it is and why it's important.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've been right on a lot of things up until this point, so thankfully people listen. Um, but I tell them just, hey, this is digital ownership. It's a fundamental human right. It's what we deserve as humans to have, and it's the future. So dig into it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
probably as short and sweet as I keep it.
Yeah, me too. I do the same thing. I used to go on these long rants, do long rants about what it is, what it could do for your artist, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just tired of it's exhausting trying to convince people. So I just be like, yo, you know, just now you can Google it. You know, you can Google it, YouTube it, because you know back then you there wasn't much information. So now it's just much easier to lead someone to just like you know, just the websites or you know YouTube and things like that. But yeah, man, it's pretty hard to convince. But I want to hear like the story of how like you got into crypto and NFTs because everybody has a different story, everybody has a different experience on that. So what led you to crypto first, and then what was like the leading bricks into NFTs?
Yeah, so I think the trip to crypto is really due to my brother. My brother's like a complete computer nerd. So he's 5 years older than me and has been on computers since he was 10. And so in 2017 or 2016, we started buying 1080 Ti's. I took all of my money and started buying 1080 Ti's. We built mining rigs.
Oh,
And I just understood it to be the future. I didn't really grasp it. Like today, I'm all in.
yeah.
There's just like no doubt in my mind that this space is going to succeed the way we want it to. Um, but at the moment, it just seemed like, hey, decentralized money, no middleman, that made sense. Because it never made sense to me that somebody was in the middle of a transaction. Like, why, if I wanted to send money to my grandmother, why would that take 5 days? Why would a bank take 2% on that? And why? Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Just the same reason, like, why would I pay for a phone call, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And so I just led I was led by example from my older brother. And I think just the concept made sense. And so unfortunately, I didn't size as much as I wanted to, but today I'm just an unequivocal believer this is the future and this is where we're headed. And I believe that with every ounce of my body.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too, man. I feel the same. I kind of skipped the crypto thing at first because I knew what it was. I just didn't understand it or like how to get into it really. But NFTs were like something I extremely just jumped head straight into because of Gary V and such like that. And yeah, it's pretty cool to hear how different people, how different especially founders and stuff like yourself, or how they got into crypto and stuff like that. That's pretty cool, man. You were building rigs and stuff like that's awesome, man. I wish I could got into that when I was younger, but like I said, man, I wasn't in the right headspace and like I wasn't doing good at the time. But man, but now I'm looking into the future, man. It's crazy, man. Looking into the just thinking about what's going to be done and what could be done, and I'm just excited for all of our future, especially for the people here today. You know, like just rolling through the bear market, getting hit left and right, and yeah, I'm just really fucking bullish on all of us. But yeah, man, let's dig into a little bit of Pudgy Penguins, man. Could you tell me? So okay, sorry, let's restart. I want to start from like the beginning because you know I think it's an important story to tell, and it's an insane story for me. Because you know I think if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken, you were the first NFT project from from the graveyard to where it is now, thriving, and it's just amazing. So take me back to day one. How did you discover Pudgy Penguins, and what made you think spending $2.5 million to acquire this project was a good idea? And by the way, shout out to all my Pudgy Penguins out there.
Yeah, so I think Pudgy Penguins was a no-brainer for us. It was something that I felt like in 2021, to me, from a consumer perspective, it was punks, apes, and penguins. Punks, apes, penguins, and cats. Like that was the narrative, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, penguins got a short end of the stick just because the founders weren't ready to kind of bring that hype forward, whether it was from a leadership perspective or a brand building and company perspective. It just got a short end of the stick. And so the beauty about Pudgy is it's battle tested, the likes of which no other project has tested, right? They've been through every FUD cycle possible.
Oh yeah.
And so the people who are still in the Pudgy Penguin community today from that early time are real believers in the project and the IP. And so that was really amazing. But at its core, I felt like Pudgy Penguins had the highest upside to be the biggest brand in NFT, to be the brand that transcends the ecosystem and the brand that millions of people can fall in love with without them knowing it's an NFT. And I thought that was really important.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, my dog was running and I was just making sure he wasn't getting out. But it's something that I felt like had the highest upside out of all the projects. And so, I believed in it from the moment I saw it. I believed that Pudgy Penguins had the most universal IP. And what I mean by universals, I mean, it doesn't matter your gender, ethnic background, or age, or any personal preference, you could identify and resonate with a Pudgy Penguin. And so that's why I bought into it, in 2021 of that summer. But why I bought it, 9 months ago was really because I just believed that it had all the ingredients to be number one, and all it needed was a capable leader who delivered reasonable output, who had a vision, and who could translate that vision, and who could do something in the space that nobody's ever done before, which to me is, how do you build Web3's first great true IP brand, which I feel like a lot of people are investing resources and energy in gaming, in metaverses, in maybe tech stacks and club narratives, but nobody was truly trying to tackle the how do we build the world's first great Web3 IP company. And the people who do have that thesis, I think we're doing an awful job, right? Like they weren't growing, they weren't creating content, they weren't creating product that was able to, invade this audience of this mass market consumer. They were just doing it wrong. And so that's why I don't even include them in the conversation, because to be frank, the people that do have that thesis, I think, are completely lost today.
Yeah.
And so this is where I think we're going to win. And this is the lane I want to trailblaze for NFTs, because I see a vision here that's greater than just, this is a PFP, this is an identity. I see this as a relationship between brand and consumer, the likes of which history and mankind has never seen before. And so, with that, it was obvious to buy Pudgy Penguins. They had been through every trial and tribulation.
Yeah.
The community was amazing. They are builders, the likes of which I think very few communities have. They are amazing people, and they deserve to win. And so whoever,
yeah, dude, I'm fucking excited, man. Just because I'm a holder, and hearing all this just makes me super excited for the future, for your future, for all of our future, and it's crazy how like you had that core community from like even from the beginning, the very beginning before you acquired it, and how like you've kind of kept them happy. But like, did the did that was it always like that? Like the community from when you bought it, was it always strong, or did you have to rebuild that? And if you did, like what were the hiccups, or you know what I mean? Like rebuilding that community, did you have to do that?
it was always strong,
Okay.
right? But to say that it couldn't be stronger is a lie. Like I think we've made it stronger today than what it was when I first came in. But that strength, I think, was translated behind a cohesive vision. which I think out of every project in the space, I think we unequivocally are up there with like top 3 projects in terms of our clear vision.
I
I
agree.
mean, my vision has been clear for the last 6 months,
Oh yeah.
right? And it hasn't changed. It hasn't faltered. It hasn't gone off track. Now, the data might eventually tell me that there's things I need to pivot on, and I'm ready for that. But my vision is crystal clear. I know exactly how we're going to win. I know exactly how we're going to accrue value to holders, and I know exactly how we're going to impact people in a positive way. And I think behind that vision, the community has become passionate alongside with me behind that narrative. And so they were strong. They were battle tested.
Yeah.
I even think that like, Pudgy Penguins loves the FUD. But they went through what I believe no other community has gone through. I think maybe the second closest is probably Azuki. But I think Pudgy Penguins has been through multiple Azuki-like scenarios, right? And so in this situation, I think they were always strong. I think we are stronger today than we ever have been. And I believe 12 months from now, we'll be even stronger.
Yeah, I believe that. And you know, to be quite frankly honest, dude, like when the acquired happened, I had a lot of bad taste in my mouth, you know, with the project. And I honestly didn't believe that it could be revived from the FUD that it was receiving. Hadn't like I thought it had no so man, I'm so happy I got proved wrong, just dropped on my ass wrong on that. Like it was insane. I like I said, I think I know I'm not mistaken. Like it was the best comeback in the NFT. I know it's not been long, but you know we've seen so many ups and downs with so many projects, and dude, it is the best comeback I have ever seen. That proved my ass wrong. You know what I
You
mean?
know what I love about you though is you admitted you were wrong and like you support it, right? A lot of people are like, yeah, I missed it, I'm wrong. But it's like, dude, Pudgy Penguins is so much upside, whatever the floor is now. Like, I'm giving this my life. Like, we're gonna take this thing to where it needs to be. And I'm just like, okay, you're pissed you missed out. You didn't support when it first happened. I get that because I had to prove myself. And I honestly think you were smart in that decision. You can't just blindly trust something.
Yeah.
But now that I've proven myself, I still see people on the sidelines like, yeah, like I missed out. Like, no, you didn't miss out. I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
I haven't even done what I'm good at yet. Like, we haven't even really hit our parabolic curve, you know? And so I'm like, dude, support us because, like, not only do I think, like, I think Web3 is Pudgy Penguins is what Web3 is about, you know? And so like supporting us is supporting this. Like you're supporting the takeover, you're supporting the comeback, you're supporting the power of the people. I mean, this is why we're here. So, you know, if you missed out, like please support, like, you know, like we need your support. Like we are not where we want to be. Like I'm telling you right now, I'm not even 5% where we want to be, you know? Like we have so much further to go, and then we have so much more in the pipeline that like please support us now. This is when I need your support. I don't need your support at 40 ETH floor, 50 ETH floor. I won't need it then. It'll be a different story then. I need it now. Now is the moment where I think we can break through and really become that blue chip. So I just wanted to point that out and just give you your kudos because a lot of people are like you, but you took the step and decided to support and believe in the vision. And for that, I'll be eternally grateful.
Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate the recognition, and it's crazy to me, man, because like what I've seen, it was just like you said, you proved yourself, and the things that you're building, I'm seeing it's just not even in the NFT space, dude. Like it's crazy to see what you're actually building because everybody is so focused on the you know, and on all of NFT Twitter, we're all just focused on what's going on inside of our little bubble all of the time. You know, we're not really paying attention to what's going on. And some of us don't even know what Pudgy Penguins are doing, like on Instagram. Dude, the Instagram page, fucking insane. I was like, because once I bought my Pudgy Penguin, I went like Discord, Instagram, you know, everything that I could find. I just wanted to follow it so I can keep it up to date. And once I hit the Instagram, I was like shocked. I was like, holy shit, dude, these guys got like almost 300K followers. Engagement is high. Dude, it's fucking insane what you guys are building over there. Which, dude, they leads perfectly into like my next question is like, I'm a huge brand guy. I know that you are too. I think like brand recognition is extremely important. And I know you feel the same way. And so I just want to ask, like, how is the team, and I'm excited to ask you, how is the team building brand inside the NFT space? But most importantly, how is the brand building brand outside the NFT space?
Yeah, so this is where we want to kind of create that balance. So I'll give you my thought process here. I think a lot of Web3 folks, at least for PFP NFTs, I think it's imperative that you have to build a Web2 business. I think it's an unequivocal must. And the reason why I believe this is because the way in which Web3 transacts is via crypto. And crypto is too volatile to grow a forecastable, growable, and projectable revenue stream. 1 month, Pudgy Penguins will make $500,000 on royalties, and the next month they'll make 50,000. It won't be my fault. It'll be because FTX stole everyone's money and Ethereum took a 50% haircut. I have to be able to control my own destiny. And so step number one is to be able to create a revenue stream that allows me to grow the team, grow the brand, grow the product line, grow the content, and not have to feel forced to mint more collections and do things that I think are at the expense of the community. One thing that I think we've done really well at Pudgy Penguins is we've done nothing but give. And I want to continue to do that. I really don't want to take from them, right? But to accomplish that, I need to make real money in the real world. And I think consumer products are a first step. And so to your point is, how do you build a brand not only in Web3, but also in Web2? Well, I think it's imperative you have to build in Web2, right? And for that reason of being able to sustain and grow without having to be forced to take from your community, I think this is really important. And so what we're doing to grow there, I think, are a couple things. One, we're creating content every single day. So on Giphy, we have over 3 billion views now as of this call. I just checked this morning across both of our accounts. So we have 2 accounts. We have, a product line of collectibles coming. We have a product line of plush coming. We have a product line of, excuse me, sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Product line of like miniature mystery collectible coming.
Jeez, that's
right. We have our, a little ice box that looks pretty epic.
Oh, dope. So, dope.
And people don't even know. People don't even know. Here, I'm gonna give you some alpha because I like you.
Oh shit. Hell yeah, dude.
Some alpha. Oh, nope, I can't give you some alpha. I took it out earlier. Sorry about that.
You're good, brother. You're good.
I was going to show you a birth certificate. We're building more than a toy. It's a tech stack. It's bringing NFT technology into the real world, right? In a non-dilutive, additive way. We're growing faster than everybody else. I mean, our Giphy's getting 20 million views a day on a bad day. Our Instagram's gaining 2,000 to 3,000 followers a day. Some days it's even 5,000 if we make a video that slaps, right? And so like we're transcending where there's still growing pains, right? Like I still haven't dominated Facebook and Pinterest and TikTok, but I'm coming, right? And when I do, I think it's just about brand awareness, right? Like I don't want to be the guy chasing the tail of the same power users and the same people with 1,000 ETH. GME and AMC showed us that the retail can be more powerful than the institution. They can be more powerful than the one super whale. Everybody's chasing today in the ecosystem, the super whales. And I want to chase the mass people. I want to make a product that people love, that people go to sleep with, that people think about, and that people smile when they scroll through their feed and they see it, because that is how I'm going to win. That's how I'm going to beat everybody else. Everybody else is just stuck on Twitter. Look at our Twitter followers. Look at our Twitter content. Look at our Twitter audience. And I promise you that is going to be a recipe for defeat. And we're seeing it today. Twitter's algorithm broke yesterday. I literally stopped my whole Twitter rollout. We were going to do a whole slew of announcements starting literally today. And I stopped it because I'm not rolling out with Twitter with my, because that's like so much time and energy. What, just to get 10,000 views because Twitter's algorithm's broken? Yeah. I'm holding the whole thing. My whole Web3 pipeline is stopped because of that. Like, that's a huge problem. That is not good. And if Twitter goes kaput, dude, if crypto Twitter goes to Instagram, or I'm going to be like number one, I'm going to be right there. I'm now going to be the creme de la creme, right? And so I think it's important that when you look about growing and scaling in this space, you have to think in the future. Like, what is this space going to look 5-10 years from now? What does the space look like today? Like, screw that. you know? And so I'm fine. You know, there might be an expense to that. Like I might not go as parabolic as the next person in the short term, but in the long term, that's what I care about winning in, because I bought this thing for 2.5 million. I'm not here for pump and dump. And, you know, the faster things go up, the faster they come down. Like I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in slow, steady growth and just grinding our way to the top so that 2 years from now, you're looking at this like, how the heck did they become number one? They just like pass by everybody, right? Because I believe greatness has to be undeniable. And all I'm doing is just stacking the chips in our favor so that when you make a decision as to what NFT you want to buy and what community you want to buy, it's undeniable that Pudgy Penguins is one of the best and that we're doing more than everyone else and that we're transcending.
Oh yeah, dude, that's I think that you've given me one of the best answers any founder I've ever asked anything on any platform, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, dude. And there's something about you that just fucking like really not only pumps me up, but it fucking warms my heart. You know what I mean? Like I like truly believe in you and what you're going to do with Pudgy Penguins. It's just like you know, me and you have never met in real life, but dude, like the conversation that we're having right now, um I just fucking feel it in my goddamn bones that you're just gonna absolutely kill it, dude. I'm so excited for you, dude. Like it's insane. But yeah, man, and I'm so excited for like the Pudgy holders. They're gonna be fucking stoked hearing all this, man. I'm so just stoked, man. And it kind of leads me to like, you know, all the things that you've been through and like why you're like so great and what you're doing is just so fucking amazing. Do you think that like, and this is a personal question, do you think that like adversity made you like this? Do you think the things that you went through made you stronger?
Yeah, so I grew up in a really tough spot, and in high school I grew up in middle school I was with the bad kids, but in high school I found like I started getting exposed to like the rich kids of LA, and so I started getting like a lot of friends that were affluent, and I look back at it today and I think to myself like, dude, none of those kids have gone anywhere, and why am I where I am today? And I believe it's just uncomfortable, just breeds pushing through boundaries and barriers. Like I was forced to become this way. You know, I wasn't just born this way.
No, no,
Right. Like maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but I really believe people are a product of their environment. And
yeah,
I think that shows through a lot of things and a lot of data points. But for me, I was forced this way, dude. Like you know, a lot of people look at me and look at my success and be like, whoa, you're so young. You really accomplished so much. But in reality, if you really look at it, I'm 24 and I dropped out of high school when I was 15 and a half and was in the workforce from 16 on. So I've been working like as a professional for 8 years. So when you look at it from that lens, it's actually like I just started earlier, you
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
I've been working. There's a lot of people who've been working professionally for 8 years that, okay, maybe they might have not accomplished everything that I have, but there's a lot of stories like mine, right? Like, you know, people are 24 and by the time they're 30, they're millionaires. Like that's a pretty common narrative amongst millionaires, right? And for me, I just was forced in this situation where it was just like, dude, I was living through what felt like to me was hell. Now, granted, people have way worse lives than me. There's definitely, I'm not sobbing about my life. I think comparatively, what I know about the world, I had a pretty good life.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was hell.
I know
And I
what you
had to get out of hell, dude.
yeah.
You know, and that just pushed me into a corner where I was either going to fold and crumble, or I was going to get back up and punch and right hook and left hook and uppercut, you know,
Voice.
and that's just what I did.
Yeah. I completely understand what you mean, dude. It's I think it's the most important part was the choice, you know, because like it's either you at those times during the worst times of your life, man. It's you know, dude, you know, you either choose to get up or you just don't. You know what I mean? You just fucking don't. And it's just crazy for me to like hear your story because there's a lot of similarities between my story and your story. It's fucking beautiful, man. And you know, I keep want to keep talking about you, man, but yeah, man, it's just crazy to me seeing the commonalities of very successful people. You know what I mean? And not everybody has to go through the most fucked up shit to become successful. I don't believe that, but like you know, in a little bit of a way, I kind of do. But you know, that's because of my own experiences and things like that. But yeah, thanks for sharing that, man. I just want to appreciate everything that you've done, and kudos to you, man. I love your fucking personality, dude. I love who you are, everything about you. But back to Pudgy Penguins, my guy. Could you tell me a little bit about the low pudgies and the rods, and what are they used for? What's their purpose? Or am I getting a little bit too ahead of myself? Because I know it's coming. I know it's coming, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the ROGs are coming. I think the ROGs are gonna, you know, when we bought the Pudgy Penguins, we had little pudgies and we had rods. And so little pudgies to us are kind of like our mutants to our ecosystem. They're a cheaper price point. They are, more in supply, so naturally they'll always be that. Uh, they're really awesome characters with a really amazing traits, and they play a huge part in our story and in our lore. And to me, we kind of take the same approach as mutants, right? You have access to events. You don't get the same as like big. So for example, if we license toys or if we license content, that swing will always be in favor of bigs, because again, that was the first collection. I'm a firm believer that if you keep the top of your pyramid strong, you will win, i.e. Bored Ape giving all the value every time to Bored Apes, right? Like, you have to take care of your apes. I have to take care of my Pudgy Penguins. But second in command is the little pudgies. They do have access to our events, our token gated, experiences, all of the above. And then the rods were something that we really scratched our head with. It was a really tough one. And
because you guys didn't make that one, right? You guys didn't want the first. Yeah. Okay.
No, we didn't force the utility, right? So that was really good. I actually concluded that rods were gonna do its thing because they're one of the greatest memes and like like they have one of the greatest lores out of any NFT IP. Like, they really are historically significant. To give you some context, they were airdropped to Pudgy Penguins via eggs, right? The community was ecstatic. For 6 months, they didn't hatch. When they finally hatched on Christmas Day, they were pudgy rods, but they misspelled rods and called it rogs. So like,
no
way. So like the meme and the lore behind it is truly like phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I honestly was just gonna have it just take the life of its own and just have it be like our squiggles. Like, hey, this is gonna take off because like it's squiggles. It's like our art piece. It's like our fine art in our ecosystem.
Nice.
And then we built a product that I think is going to change Web3. And when we ship that product, the rods play a part in that, right? And so I think, it's not going to be the all and be all. So I just want people to know, like, even if for some reason the rod utility disappoints you, which I think it'd be hard to disappoint, figuring there's like nothing there already.
Yeah.
Like, I will constantly iterate. Like, nothing is the all and be all. I'm here for the next 10 years. I'm constantly going to be building on these. And it's my goal for them to accrue value as much as possible so that the community is happy. And if the community is happy, we ultimately win. But that's kind of the science between the two, or at least the thought processes between the two. And hopefully that provides some clarity.
Yeah, no, it does. And it's you tackled on a lot, man, because definitely with the rogs and the little pudgies and stuff like that, you have to create your own basically utilities and value that you yourself didn't make or plan for, but you still tackled it on, and you still made it a part of the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem, which is great. Because there's projects out there that try to revive projects, but they left the other sub NFTs to the dust. They're just focused straight on the main project, which is I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, but it's crazy, man. So speaking of like little pudgies and stuff, what in the hell is Layer Zero, and what made you decide to go into multi-chain, to put little pudgies onto multi-chain?
Yeah, so it was an experiment, and I found that to retain attention in this space, you have to push boundaries. And this space is all about attention. How everything works is about attention. And I thought to myself, this is a narrative that I think could be really big in the future. And it has a ton of pros with very little cons. And so this is something I want to take a risk on. Now, the big pudgies are very sensitive in terms of like, that's our creme de la creme. That's our North Star. That is, the core of our business. So I didn't want to make a decision, that was an experiment using them. But I felt like, again, the decision-making was so good that we would start with little pudgies. or at least the decision of going omni-chain, you had to do it. Just I had to. So little pudgies were the ones that made sense for. And so, the thought process is really simple. Lean into the business development of other chains. So for example, if Instagram partners up with Polygon, I can now reap the benefits of that. If Binance partners with, Stripe, I can now reap the benefits of that, right? So now I'm no longer subject to not reaping the benefits of business development of other chains because Ethereum doesn't have a good BD team. They don't have one, period, right? So I want to be able to lean into those partnerships. That's important to me. Two, being able to bring in other communities. Like I feel bad for people who are Binance maxis and can't participate in these awesome little pudgies. That sucks, right? Like I want you to be a part of that. And so opening ourselves up to other ecosystems, being able to give users the freedom of choice, which is why I think Web3 and crypto has succeeded up until this point. You have the choice to choose your chain, and you shouldn't be subject to the failure of any which chain. And you also shouldn't be subject to not participating in the upside of all the future chains, right? Think about it.
Yeah, no,
there's going to be you know what I mean? Like when the next Solana comes around, and the next Solana community, I'll be able to bridge some little pudgies over, and we'll be able to reap all the benefits of that growing ecosystem, right? And so it's about thinking into the future and not thinking into the past. And it's really about thinking, where's the space going to go? This is going to be a narrative moving forward. I promise you. The pros outweigh the cons so much. The real con is that the marketplaces haven't organized this correctly. It's very sloppy on marketplaces. So if you look at like little pudgies, Polygon, it's messy. But I already talked to OpenSea. I already talked to Blur. I already talked to all the top exchanges. They're fixing it, right? And so when you look at it, like, this is the future. The pros vastly outweigh the cons, and it's a decision I had to make, but it's a decision that I had to be conscious of because I wanted to surprise the community. I didn't want to tell them, but I also didn't want to do something that I think would have blown it up. And at the end of the day, little pudgies is a lower barrier to entry, which I think also makes sense for these lower chains, right? Or like these smaller chains.
Dude, that's insane. Dude, your tactics of how you want to play this and how you're like bringing little Pudgy Penguins, the igloo cupping everywhere. It's fucking insane to me, dude. Like I didn't know that these were your plans, and like dude, I'm fucking even. I thought I couldn't even be more bullish on you, man. But Jesus Christ, man, hearing you and the tactics, the way your brain thinks and works, and how you're just doing everything, just laying out brick by brick by brick. It's fucking beautiful, dude. I think that like whoever's listening to this, man, I just hope that you're just excited as I am. I know you can't see through the podcast, but dude, I could not stop fucking smiling the whole fucking time. It was just you excite me, man, and it's fucking crazy. So before I ask this next question, I just want to say personally, I'm excited to see what you pull off with Pudgy Penguins, and I know I'm not the only one that shares that sentiment. But for everyone listening, what's the future look like for Pudgy Penguins, and what's the future look like for all these other collections under Pudgy Penguins?
I'm here to stay. And I'm working my ass off. And I think I have experience and core competencies that nobody else in the space does. I think we have a vision that nobody else does. I think we have the ability to execute that vision that nobody else does. I think we have a premier IP. We're the #1 cute and inclusive IP on the blockchain. To give you some context, cute and inclusive IP in the real world is what dominates IP. It's not cool and exclusive, right? The highest upside IP in the world is cute and inclusive. So being #1 in Web3 and cute and inclusive is not a small statement, but it is a true one, not only by volume traded, but by cachet and provenance. Everybody knows Pudgy Penguins is a leader here.
Oh, yeah.
We have a community of builders and affluent Web3 and crypto and NFT users that I think is creme de la creme. I think there's, if any, maybe one or two other communities that have that type of buy-in from influential users. Why that matters is because that's access.
Yeah.
If you have a Pudgy Penguins PFP, you can hit up Brian from Layer Zero, who has a multi-billion-dollar business, who will respond to you. And he's the CEO. Like that, people underestimate that. You can hit up Alex from Nansen, who also has a $1 billion company and one of the best analytical tools, and he'll respond to you because you have a Pudgy Penguin PFP. That access matters, right? That's access you can't buy. The communities either have it or you don't. And you have a team who's hungry. And I think we're hungrier than everyone else because we're the only team that's not playing with house money. We're the only team that's in the hole. And for us to win, we have to work our tail off. And there is no we could stop this tomorrow. They could FUD us tomorrow and we could fold tomorrow because we're sitting on tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. Every other blue chip is in that spot. They could leave tomorrow. They could shut down tomorrow and they'd be really happy. Life would be good for them. If I shut down tomorrow, life will suck. And so that's the difference. I have to win. I have no other option. And I think our vision, our community, our passion, our IP is going to put us in that position.
Oh yeah, I completely agree, and that's why I put my money where my mouth is, and seeing what you've built, seeing what you're doing, hearing what you're doing, not dude, because like people are out there just speaking for you, man. I don't know if you noticed, dude. People are always out there speaking for you in such great manners, and like there's just not one motherfucker I've ever met saying one bad thing about you, not one person, and and then that just kept getting me interested. Like, wow, dude, this dude's just fucking killing it, dude, pulling it out of the park. And one day I was just sitting on my laptop and I was like, yeah, dude, I have to do this. This is it. This is the next big, because I'm very frugal, and sometimes I'm very frugal with it, with any of my money, just because I grew up very poor, so like a dollar means a lot to me.
Me
Um,
too.
so like I know you feel that. So I'm very frugal. But dude, seeing what you've done, the history, everything, it was just like it was an easy buy for me, and it was so fucking tight. And it first day in, man, I felt so welcomed by everybody, dude. Like the Pudgy Penguin community is so strong, dude. They're just out there killing it. They're everywhere. That you just can't ignore them. They're just everywhere. And but yeah, dude, roses to the Pudgy Penguins community, roses to you, man. And I just want to ask you, like, this part is like giving out roses all the time, so like are anything out there for you that like really excites you? Any projects, services, people, anything out there in the NFT Web3 stuff that excites you for the future?
Yeah, I think I love Azuki. My favorite founder in the space, other than myself, is Frank.
Nice. Yeah.
I think he's an absolute beast. He's an he epitomizes what I think the space is about. I think this space is going to be shaped by the younger group
Yeah.
only because we were native to the web. That's not knocking on the older group, but the older group didn't grow up on the web and consume the web the way that we did. And so I think to shape the future of the web, you had to have been native to the web, right? And so he's just a killer dude, amazing guy, one of the few people that I meet with. He holds me accountable. He tells me if something's stupid. I'll tell him if something's stupid. I actually very few people that I can sit back and listen to music with that I think has a good taste in music. There's everything about him. I think is just like he's just a great person, and I think he has an extremely good finger on the pulse as to what people want. Um, I think people are sleeping on Artifact. I think they've heard the community and they'll fix the issues. And then obviously Bored Ape just leading the charge. I think it's going to get really beautiful to see what they do because now they're getting over that learning curve,
Yeah.
of just like, okay, we got all this money. What do we do with it? The teams are now like, it's been 6 months, maybe more, 8 months. They have a flow. They're starting to jive, and I think
Yeah.
this year you're going to start to really see what they're about, what they're truly about. And I think we're already seeing that.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm excited for all of us, really, everybody that's into NFTs and Web3. Really, there's just like a special group of us, some of us, especially from the bull market, dude. There was so many of us, dude, here, and everybody was loud, and as when the bear hit, dude, it just got really fucking quiet real quick, and it's good to see a bunch of people still sticking around, like. There are some people that I thought that would have stuck around like forever that just kind of just left and haven't seen since. And right now I feel like there's still people coming in, like new people and things like that. But like during the bear there, damn dude, the people there had to be true believers of that fucking space, dude, because we were down bad. Everything was the sentiment was down. Yeah, it was just crazy, man. But the last question, man, I'll let you go. I know you're super busy. This part's about knowledge and wisdom, and I really want to share yours from like your experience, everything that you've been through. So like what could you someone that wants to like revive an NFT project or just start one or just anything about branding advice, man. Could you give us any wisdom on that? What is your advice to these type of founders? But yeah, that's my question.
I think the best advice that I can give you is it's not your project, it's our project. And whatever that means to you, if you really think about that statement, I think that is the difference between the Franks, the Bored Apes, the Pudgy Penguins, the Azukis, and then everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. And that, dude, I honestly like, man, I know I said this already, but dude, that was probably one of the best answers I've ever gotten from anybody on anything. But solid advice, man. Thank you for everything, Luca. I really appreciate your time. This opportunity meant the world to me. But yeah, man, anything you want to wrap up with? Where can we find out like more about Pudgy Penguins, the Igloo Company? Where can I buy some merch? All that kind of stuff, my man.
Yeah, just go to pudgypenguins.com. If you want to learn more about the community, we have another website called pudgymedia.com that's like very community driven, a lot of interesting lore. And follow us on social media. Just if, I'm not asking anyone, you don't need to jump right into the ecosystem. Look at what we do, hold us accountable, check out our output. I think we are performing at a bar that I think is second to none. And so just engage and support us. That's all I can ask. And I'm super grateful for anyone that does.
Oh yeah, and dude, we're grateful for you, man. That's all. That's I know that for a fact. All of us are. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of the Web3 community, man. It's this has been an amazing conversation for me, at least. I hope you had a lot of fun, my man.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.